My God, I am here again, in the same old place. The cold floor, the darkness that seems to embrace me like an old acquaintance, and the silence. Ah, the silence. It is the loudest of all my companions. It screams everything I try to hide during the day. It screams the truth that I cover up with smiles, with work, with trivial conversations. The truth is that I am a prisoner within myself, chained to an addiction that no one, absolutely no one, knows about. And that is the heaviest part of the chain, the secret. I have become a master of dissimulation, an award-winning actor on the stage of my own life. During the day, I am functional. I am the friend who gives advice, the competent professional, the attentive son, the present spouse. I have built this facade with such care, brick by brick, lie by lie, forced smile by forced smile, and people believe it. They look at me and see success, stability, perhaps even a pillar of strength. Little do they know that the pillar is hollow. Little do they know that inside, everything is collapsing, eaten away by the rust of my secret weakness. And God, where do you fit into all this? I speak to you as if you were here, because I was told that you are everywhere. If you truly are, then you are the only witness. You see beyond the mask. You see my hands trembling when the craving hits. You see the cold sweat on my brow when I give in once more. You see the ritual, the preparation, the act itself. And worst of all, you see what comes after. The overwhelming wave of shame. The self-loathing that is so intense it suffocates me, that makes my stomach turn. The gaze I cannot hold in the mirror. Who is that man? Who is this person staring back at me? I don't recognize him. He has my eyes, but the light is gone. He has my face, but it is marked by a defeat that only you and I know. With every fall, I swear it will be the last. It is a hellish and predictable cycle. The fervent promise made with tears in my eyes. God, never again, I swear, help me. This time is different. And for a moment, I believe it. I feel a renewed strength, a determination that seems unshakable. I manage to get through a day, maybe two, sometimes a whole week. And on those days, I walk lighter. The sun seems to shine brighter. Food tastes better. I look at the people I love without feeling the weight of fraud on my back. I think, this is it. I did it. I'm free. But the monster is patient. It doesn't go away. It just crouches in the darkest corner of my mind, waiting for a moment of weakness, a stressful day at work, a silly argument, a trigger of loneliness, even in the middle of a crowd. And then it begins to whisper. The voice is subtle at first. You deserve a break. It was just a slip-up last time. You can control it. No one will know. And that last sentence is the most venomous of all. No one will know. It echoes in my head, justifying the unjustifiable, because my greatest pain is not the addiction itself, but the shame of what others would think if they knew, the paralyzing fear of judgment, of the disappointment in the eyes of those I love. I prefer secret agony to public humiliation, and so I give in. The internal struggle is excruciating. It is a civil war within my soul, the part of me that longs for the light, for freedom, for purity, against the part of me that is dragged by the dark current of desire. And the dark part almost always wins, because it promises immediate relief, a temporary escape from the pain, the anxiety, the pressure of being who everyone expects me to be. And the moment I give in, there is a second of false relief. And then reality hits me like a punch. The shame returns, but this time stronger, crueler. The cycle begins again, but the spiral descends ever lower. Lord, I look at my life and I see a web of lies, small omissions that have become great deceptions, excuses to disappear for a few hours, money that vanishes without explanation, an irritability that comes out of nowhere, the fruit of withdrawal or guilt. I have become an expert in deflecting questions, in changing the subject, and every lie is like another link in the chain that binds me. I am so entangled that I no longer know where the truth ends and the lie begins. My own identity has become a sham. I feel envy, God, a corrosive envy. I look at the people around me, living their lives with a lightness that I have lost. They complain about problems that seem so simple to me. They complain about the traffic, the boss, the weather, and I think, you don't know what a real prison is. You don't know what it's like to wake up every day with an enemy living inside your own head. I envy their peace, their clear conscience, the freedom of simply being themselves without a devastating secret to hide. It's an ugly feeling, I know, but it's honest. And if this prayer has any value, let it be for the raw honesty I pour out here on the cold floor. Sometimes I ask myself, why? Why me? What is broken in me? What is the missing piece? The hole in my soul that I desperately try to fill with this poison. I go back to the past, I search for traumas, for wounds. Maybe it's there, the root of it all. A harsh word I heard in childhood, a loneliness that was never healed, a pressure to be perfect that crushed me. Or maybe there is no grandiose reason. Maybe it's just a weakness, a character flaw. And that idea is even more frightening. The idea that I am inherently defective. Lord, I am tired. I am exhausted from fighting this war alone in the dark. I am tired of pretending, tired of hating myself, tired of the cycle of falling and false promises, tired of the weight of the secret. The burden is too heavy to carry. My shoulders ache. My soul is bowed. I have no more strength. I have tried with my own will. I have read books. I have made promises. I have punished myself. I have tried everything I could do alone and in secret, and I have failed. Every single time I have failed. So tonight my prayer is different. It is no longer the arrogant promise of, I will not do this anymore, because I know that I cannot. My willpower is a sandcastle against the tide of addiction. My prayer tonight is a cry for help, a shout of surrender. God, if you are real, if you hear me, if you see me here, trembling on this cold floor, covered in shame and despair, please help me. I am not asking you to take away my desire all at once, as if by magic. I am asking for something deeper. I am asking that you enter this prison with me, that you sit beside me in this darkness, that you show me that I am not alone in this fight. I give you my weakness. I give you my addiction. I take this horrible thing, this part of me that I hate the most, and I place it in your hands because I can't bear to hold it anymore. I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know how to live without it, no matter how much it destroys me. It has become a part of me. So I ask you, remake me. Take my broken pieces, the shards of my identity, and build me anew. I confess to you my pride, the pride that prevents me from asking for help from another person, the fear of what they will think, the fear of losing respect, of losing love. Lord, this pride is the wall of my cell. Give me the courage to tear it down. Give me the humility to admit that I cannot do it alone. Show me who I can turn to. Place someone in my path who will not judge me, but who will extend a hand to me. Someone who has perhaps already walked through this same valley of shadows. I confess to you my self-pity, the tendency to see myself as a helpless victim. I need to stop blaming the world, the past, or my own internal wiring. I need to take responsibility, but without being crushed by guilt. Teach me the difference between guilt and responsibility. Guilt paralyzes me in shame. Responsibility calls me to action, to change. I want to be responsible. I want to fight for my own life, but I need your strength for that. I ask for your forgiveness, not just for my addiction, but for its consequences. Forgiveness for the lies I've told. Forgiveness for the emotional distance I have created between myself and the people I love. They feel that something is wrong. I see the confusion, the hurt in their eyes, even if they don't know the name of the problem. I have hurt them with my secret, with my absence, even while being present. Forgive me for every time my irritability, born from my internal struggle, has splashed onto them. Forgive me for not being the friend, the son, the spouse I should be. My prison doesn't only imprison me, it casts shadows on everyone around me. And now, Father, I want to look forward, but I can't see a path. All I see is a dense fog. The fear of the future is paralyzing. The fear that I will never change, that I will live and die in this condition, taking my secret to the grave. The fear that one day the mask will fall and everyone will see the fraud that I am. This fear feeds the addiction, and the addiction feeds the fear. So, I ask you, be my light in this fog. I don't need to see the whole road. I couldn't handle that. I just need to see the next step. Just one. Show me what the next right step is. Is it making a phone call? Is it confessing to someone I trust? Is it seeking professional help? Is it simply managing to get through the next hour without giving in? Whisper to my heart, Lord. Guide my feet, because they don't know where to go. I want to believe in your grace. The one I was told is sufficient. The one that does not depend on my performance, on my perfection. I want to believe that you don't love me in spite of my mess, but that you love me in the midst of my mess. That your love is not a prize for the victorious, but a hospital for the wounded. I am wounded, God. My soul is bleeding. Please be my physician. Apply your healing balm to my deepest wounds, the ones that gave birth to all of this. Give me a new heart, a heart that no longer needs the escape that addiction offers, a heart that finds peace in you, that finds joy in simple things, that finds refuge in your presence, and not in a substance or a destructive behavior. I want to desire you more than I desire my addiction. I know that this is the final battle, the battle of desires, and my desire desire for this escape is so strong, so ingrained. I need a greater desire, a greater love. Fill the emptiness within me with your presence so that there is no more room for the monster to hide. I refuse to believe that this is my destiny. I refuse to accept that my story ends here, on this cold floor, as an anonymous prisoner. You are a God of liberation. Your story is full of captives being set free, of chains being broken, of lives being remade. I cling to that promise. I don't feel it now. I don't see how it can become real for me. All I feel is the weight, the pain, and the weariness. But I choose to believe. It is an act of faith, born of desperation, a bet on your power, because mine has completely run out. Tomorrow, when the sun rises, the fight will begin again. The monster will still be there, waiting. The routine of pretense will be at my door. But I ask that something be different, that this prayer, this total surrender, this brutally honest confession has changed something, not in the world out there, but in here, in the center of my soul, that a small seed of hope has been planted, that I may rise from this floor not with the arrogance of my own strength, but with the humility of one who depends entirely on you. I don't know what tomorrow will be like, but I give it to you. I give you the next hour, the next minute, the next desire, the next temptation. They are yours to deal with. I am yours for you to mold. Take me out of the shadows, Lord, not all at once, if that is not possible, but step by step, one ray of light at a time. Teach me to walk in the light, even if my eyes hurt at first. Teach me to live in the truth, even if it is painful. Teach me to forgive myself, just as I ask for your forgiveness. I rise from this floor, not because I feel strong, but because I choose to trust that your hand is holding me. The darkness is still here, but for the first time in a long time, it doesn't seem so absolute. There is a faint glow on the horizon of my soul, the promise of a dawn, and I cling to it with everything I have left. This is my prayer, the prayer of one who is trapped in a vice that no one knows about, the silent struggle, the hidden fall. But you see, you have always seen, and you can set free. I believe. I choose to believe. And then the silence that follows the Amen is different. It is no longer the accusing silence, the void that amplified my failure. It is a full silence, a silence of exhaustion. Yes, but the exhaustion of one who has laid down their weapons after a long and useless war. I don't feel victorious. I don't feel a wave of divine power. I feel quietness, as if the civil war in my soul has reached an armistice. The floor is still cold. The darkness still surrounds me. But my internal enemy, the cruel judge who lives in my mind, is silent. For the first time, he has fallen silent. And in this silence, I simply breathe. 1, 2, 3 deep breaths, which are not to calm myself before giving in, but are just air entering and leaving my lungs. A simple miracle I had never noticed. I don't know how long I stay there. Minutes, hours, time has lost its meaning. What moves me is not a decision, but an almost imperceptible impulse. I get up, my knees crack in protest. My whole body aches, as if I had been beaten. And in a way, I was. Beaten by my own hand, by my own choices. I walk slowly to the window and pull back the curtain. The sky outside is beginning to lighten, changing from a deep black to a bruised navy blue, with a shy streak of orange on the horizon. The sunrise. How many times have I seen this happen, not as the beginning of a new day, but as the end of a night of shame, the sign that I needed to put my mask back on and go out into the world to lie some more. But today is different. I look at that thread of light and I see it as an answer. Your answer. Not a thundering voice from the sky, not a miraculous sign, just the faithful promise that the light always returns to break the darkness. And I think of my prayer. I just need to see the next step. Maybe the next step is just this: to face the dawning day, not with the usual dread, but with a sliver of possibility. The possibility that today could be the first day of the rest of my life. It's a cliche, I know, but cliches become cliches because they contain a fundamental truth. And the truth is that every day is, in fact, a new beginning. The day begins, and with it, the tests. The routine is the same. The smell of coffee, the sound of the news on TV, the sounds of the house waking up, and, inevitably, the whisper of the monster. He has woken up too. The truce truce is over. The voice returns, but there is something different about it. It seems more distant, less convincing. The stress is going to start again, he says. You're going to need something to get through the day. Before, this suggestion would have found fertile ground of anxiety and self-justification. But today, something stands in the way. A memory. The memory of the cold floor, of the surrender, of the quietness. And I do something I've never done before. Instead of fighting the voice, of trying to crush it with my willpower, I simply acknowledge it and turn the other way. I turn towards the light from the window, and I whisper, so low it's almost a thought. God, did you hear that? He's here. I'm not going to fight him. I can't. But I'm here with you. Stand between me and him, and an astonishing thing happens. The voice doesn't disappear, but it loses its power. It's as if, by handing it over to you, I have emptied it of its authority over me. I'm no longer alone in the boxing ring. I have a protector in my corner. The fight is still mine, but the strength doesn't have to be. The day progresses. I go to work. I interact with people, and the mask seems thinner today, less necessary. When someone asks me, "How are you?" instead of my automatic and rehearsed, "Everything's great, and you?" I pause, and I say, "I'm getting by, one day at a time." The person probably doesn't notice the depth of this small change, but for me, it's an earthquake. It is the first time in years that I have responded with something that approaches the truth. It is a small act of honesty, but it feels liberating. During a break, the craving strikes with more force. A stressful email, a criticism from my boss, the perfect recipe for a relapse. My heart races, my hands get clammy. The familiar escape route flashes in neon in my mind. The monster screams, "Now! You need it now! You deserve it!" Panic begins to set in, the feeling of drowning. But then the other memory, show me the next step. I pick up my phone, my fingers tremble. I don't open the contact that would lead me to my dose of poison. Instead, I open the browser, and with my heart in my mouth, I type the words that my pride has always forbidden me to write. Anonymous support group for addicts. The list of results appears on the screen. Phone numbers, addresses, online meetings. Each line is a lifeboat, but jumping from the sinking ship is still terrifying. What will they think of me? What if I run into someone I know? The fear of judgment, of exposure is almost paralyzing. Pride screams, "Close it. You don't need this. You're better than this." And for a moment, my thumb hovers over the button to close the window. It's the crossroads, the old path of secret shame, or the scary new path of vulnerability and hope. I close my eyes. God, I can't make this call. It's too much for me. The fear is too great. Please, if this is the way, push me. I take a deep breath, and I don't know where the strength comes from. It's not mine. I know it's not. But my thumb moves and clicks on one of the numbers. It starts to dial. The sound of the phone ringing in my ear is the loudest sound in the world. Each ring is a beat of my heart. I want to hang up. I want to throw the phone away, but I stay on the line. A voice answers, a calm voice from an older man. "Alcoholics Anonymous, can I help you?" The word help hangs in the air. I open my mouth to speak, but no sound comes out. It is the moment of truth, the moment to tear open the curtain and let the light in, no matter how much it burns. My voice comes out as a hoarse, broken whisper. I think I need help. And the man on the other end of the line doesn't laugh. He doesn't judge me. He doesn't ask me invasive questions. He just says, with a kindness that almost makes me cry right there in the middle of my office, "I know how you feel. I've been there. You've done the hardest thing there is. You called. Talk to me when you're ready." And in that sentence, I've been there. I feel the hand of God. You did not send me an angel with fiery wings. You sent me a man with scars, a fellow traveler who knew the name of my desert. We talk for a few minutes. He tells me about a meeting that night, not far from where I work. He tells me not to worry about anything, just to show up. If you don't want to say anything, don't. Just listen. See that you are not alone. We hang up. I am trembling from head to toe. But it is no longer the tremor of craving. It is the tremor of fear mixed with a relief so deep, so overwhelming that my legs feel weak. The secret, which for years was my absolute master, has begun to lose its power. It was exposed to a single person, to a stranger, and the world did not end. I did not disintegrate. On the contrary, I felt for the first time a little more whole. That night I drive to the meeting place. 500 times I think about turning around and going home, to my familiar refuge of self-destruction. 500 times a force that is not my own keeps me on the path. Walking into that room was like entering another country. People of all kinds, men, women, young, old, people who seemed normal like the ones I saw at the supermarket. And they talked. They told my stories. They described my feelings, the loneliness, the shame. the double life, the feeling of being a fraud, the cycle of promise and fall. I didn't say a word, I just listened, sitting in the back of the room, and the tears began to run down my face. They were not tears of sadness or self-pity, they were tears of belonging. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't a unique monster in the world. I was just a sick human being, struggling, and I was no longer fighting alone. The prison had walls, but suddenly I saw that there were other people inside it, and they had found a way to dig a tunnel together. The journey from that day on was not a straight line to heaven. Oh, far from it. There were terribly difficult days. Days when the monster's voice seemed louder than God's voice. There were times when I stumbled, when I almost fell, but something fundamental had changed. My war strategy. I no longer fought in secret. I had that man's number. I had the meetings. And above all, I had my continuous conversation with you, Father. My prayers changed. They were no longer just the desperate cries from the cold floor. They became conversations throughout the day. God, I'm going into a stressful situation. Walk with me. God, I'm feeling envious of that person. Take it away from me and show me what I'm grateful for. God, I'm tired today. Renew my strength so that I don't seek rest in the wrong place. Prayer became my spiritual breath, what kept me connected to my true source of strength, and I began to understand what grace was. Grace was not an eraser that wiped away my scars. The scars were still there. They were part of my story. Grace was the strength that kept me from using my scars as an excuse to hurt myself again. Grace was the ability, after a stumble, not to surrender to shame for weeks, but to get up in minutes, ask for forgiveness from you and from myself, and get back on the path. The fall no longer defined the end of the journey. It became part of the learning process. The hardest step, however, was yet to come. Telling my family, the people I loved the most and feared disappointing the most. It took months of meetings, of prayer, of strengthening. I chose a day. I sat down with them, and with the same trembling voice from that first phone call, I told them everything. I exposed the secret in its entirety, the depth of the addiction, the extent of the lies. I made no excuses. I blamed no one. I just presented my broken truth, waiting for the verdict. And their reaction, it was the purest manifestation of your love that I have ever experienced. There were tears, yes. There was pain for not having noticed, for me having suffered alone for so long. But there was no judgment. There was no condemnation. There were hugs. There was the sentence, "We are here with you. You are not alone in this anymore." And in that moment, the last and heaviest chain broke. The fear of judgment, which had kept me prisoner for so long, revealed itself to be a ghost. Love was real. Acceptance was real. Your grace manifested through the people you placed in my life. Today, my life is not perfect. I am still a work in progress. I still go to my meetings. I still have good days and bad days. The monster is not dead. He has been exiled to a distant land, and sometimes I still hear his faint echoes in the distance. But he no longer rules my life. The throne of my heart, which he occupied for so long, is now yours. I have learned to find joy in the process. I have learned to be grateful for the small victories, a sober day, an honest conversation, the ability to look at myself in the mirror and not feel disgust, but a gentle compassion for that man who fought for so long in the dark. I look at the people I love and I no longer feel the weight of fraud. I can be with them in truth and integrity. The peace that I so envied in others, I am beginning to find within myself. It is not a peace that depends on circumstances, but a peace that comes from knowing that I am loved, forgiven, and sustained by a power greater than my own. My prayer today is no longer a cry for help, but a whisper of gratitude. Thank you, Father, for not giving up on me when I had already given up on myself. Thank you for hearing the prayer of an anonymous prisoner. Thank you for entering my cell and showing me the way to the door. Thank you for freedom, not the freedom from the absence of struggle, but the freedom of no longer having to fight alone. Thank you for the light, for hope, for one day at a time. The journey is long, but the road is blessed because I walk with you, and that is everything. Amen. If this prayer has touched your heart, share it with someone who also needs to know that they are not fighting alone today.